Warning: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I do not condone or recommend the usage of illicit drugs, and I especially do not recommend using Diphenhydramine or Benadryl, as it is commonly referred to in anything larger than a medical dose. Usage of Diphenhydramine outside of that threshold can lead to serious health complications, including seizures or even death. This report is from when I was a dumb teenager and first experimenting with DPH. The report was written the day after the trip. With that said, please enjoy the trip report. At 10:15 p.m. I took 28 of the 25 mg pills totaling 700 mg. My previous highest dose was 24 pills or 600 mg, which I had done twice, but I had a large tolerance, so not much happened then. This time, however, I had not taken DPH in about a week and a half, so my tolerance was much lower. 10:30 p.m. I'm laying in bed and I start to feel extremely heavy. The rest of the regular come-up symptoms happen over the next 30 minutes as well. My mouth gets extremely dry and my vision starts to go blurry and my heart starts pounding through my chest. 11 p.m. By this time my vision is too blurry to message with friends and the music I was listening to is starting to annoy me, so I take out my headphones and just stare at the ceiling. I was hearing extremely loud audio hallucinations. It sounded like someone was beating a piece of sheet metal with a baseball bat for a few minutes. This sound was so realistic I remember thinking that our AC unit, which was right outside my window, must be broken. 11:30 p.m. I'm staring at the walls while dark blobs move around my room. I keep closing my eyes and then thinking I'm texting with my friends, only to realize I'm just holding my blanket up to my face thinking it was my phone. I tried to grab my actual phone off my bed, but as soon as my hand touched it, it evaporated into nothingness. I was hearing things run up and down the hall and distant conversations that sounded like they were coming from my living room. I kept thinking someone had just walked into my room, which was annoying me. I passed out shortly after this. 1:20 a.m. I wake up and deliriously walk into my parents' room while talking to hallucinations. My speech was perfectly coherent, but it sounded like I was saying random words. In my head what I was saying made perfect sense and I was getting frustrated that they weren't understanding me. I walked up to my mom and started ranting about something to do with Thanksgiving for about 5 minutes, and she kept telling me that I wasn't making sense, so I finally just said I guess I need some sleep and went back to my room. When I got in bed I sent her a text that said sorry I like it eager at momethanFN. After I did this my mom and dad walked into my room and asked me if I was on drugs. They kept asking me questions for about 30 minutes and I kept answering them with what I thought made perfect sense, but it made absolutely none. At one point they found a receipt for where I bought Benadryl on my desk and they connected the dots from there. When they asked me about how much Benadryl I took I started ranting about the Call of Duty mobile video game. When they said that made no sense I even more frustratedly explained why the children my sister used to babysit owned an Xbox. At this point my dad started yelling at me and saying I overdosed and needed to be taken to the hospital. My mom, who had previously been very confrontational, became very sweet when she realized I was not in my right mind. She told me I needed to put on a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie to go to the hospital because it was cold outside. I put 2 t-shirts on top of the shirt I was wearing and sat down on the floor. When I finally got properly dressed we went to the emergency room. Another example of how completely out of it I was is that we met my brother at a McDonald's so he could give my mom money for gas. I thought it was perfectly normal for my brother to be at a McDonald's at 2 a.m. and assumed we ran into him by chance and he didn't know I was high on Benadryl. 2 a.m. I'm sitting in a small hospital room while 3 triage nurses ask me questions. They have my parents leave the room so they can ask me if I was trying to harm myself. I replied, no, I just wanted to feel high. 2:15 a.m. I'm in a hospital bed. They made me take my shirt off and wear a hospital gown. 2 nurses came and stuck tons of stickers all over my chest and stomach. They put a blood pressure cuff around my left arm, some weird machine on my right pointer finger, and hooked up tons of wires to the stickers on my body. After this they put an IV in my right arm, which really made me freak out internally. I dislike shots, but can handle them easily. IVs on the other hand absolutely make me freak out since a needle is piercing my vein. From the IV they collected 6 vials of my blood and then the IV was hooked to a saline drip to keep me hydrated. Apparently they used the stickers on my chest and stomach to take an EKG. 2:45 a.m. the doctor comes in and brings me a cup of grape juice, orange juice and a can of Diet Coke because I told him my mouth was so unbelievably dry. He also brought me a jug to urinate in because they needed to test my piss. Because there were so many wires hooked up to me from different directions, it took me around 10 minutes to sit up on the side of the bed and piss into the bottle. No matter how I tried to get up, I was just getting tangled up worse and worse. After this, the doctor said I needed to stay the night so they could monitor my vitals. My left arm was hooked to a machine that automatically checked my blood pressure every 10 minutes. The machine monitoring my vitals kept beeping out of control and I wasn't sure why. I was later told this was because my blood pressure was at dangerous levels. I don't remember if it was high or low, and because of how fast my heart was beating. 7 a.m. the doctors wake me up and give me a glass of water to drink and say they will take all the machinery off of me shortly. After they took my IV out and unhooked me from the other stuff, I was free to go home. When I got home, I went to bed and was in and out of consciousness, but I was mainly sleeping. When I woke up around 3 p.m. my mother told me I had to stay the night because my heart rate was at 150 beats per minute for 2 hours straight and they had to wait for it to go back to normal. That's the story of my 700 milligrams overdose report. Again, I feel the need to state that DPH is an inherently dangerous drug that should not be messed with except sparingly in medical doses. I have watched this drug damage or ruin people's lives, including my own. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my trip report. This is Pills Am I Right signing off. Till next time.